Yesterday's session was about yoga for the body. Tomorrow will be for mind. Day after tomorrow for being, spirit. Today we will see something between the body and mind. What I call verbalization, our inner chattering. Our inner chattering is the bridge between body and mind. It is not completely mind because mind is something more than inner chattering. It is not completely body because body is totally physical. It's something in between. In Sanskrit we use beautiful word samskara. Samskara, the engraved memories. These are the reason for inner chattering, our verbalization. Today we will see about our verbalization, yoga for our inner chattering, yoga for our verbalizations. Again and again, all the great masters declare, you are Atman, you are energy. And that's a beautiful statement in the Upanishad.
Excuse me, I'm taping here, could you mind?
Whatever you think can be realized. That's a beautiful statement. In the night, in the dream time, you create your own world. Nobody else is creating your world. What you are seeing in the dream, the whole thing is your creation. If you can create in the dream state, why not in the waking state? If you can create a complete world in the dream state, why you can't in the waking state? And there is no reason why we should not be, or why we can't create what we want in the waking state. To tell you honestly, if you look deep into your being, you can understand this world is made of the same stuff in which your dreams are made. It's very shaking statement, difficult to believe. But anybody who has got any question to argue or to raise against this point, you are welcome. In the end of the session, the question and answer session, we will analyze. Please understand, I am making a statement. This world is made of the same stuff in which your dreams are made. Anybody has got any question against this statement, you are welcome. We will analyze it more deeply. Now let me continue. Again and again, Upanishads ask us, when you can create a big world in the dream, why can't in the waking state? And you can. You can create. Whatever you create inside your space, that only you express it. You create it in the outer world. Any discovery, whether it is scientific, or in the field of medicine, or in the field of physics, or anything, or in the field of machineries, any discovery, first it has to be discovered, created in the mind of a scientist. In his inner space, he has to create it. Only then it can be created in the outer space, in the outer world. In the dream world, you do the same thing. You create something in your inner space and you project it in the outer space. In the waking state, in this world also, you create something in your inner space and you project it in the outer world. But when you create the model in the inner space, you do some mistakes. You do some not even mistakes, I can say blunders. After the mistakes, we project that same model in the outer world. Once the result comes, we start asking, how can this be my creation? If I wanted to create, I would have created much better way. But we don't look into the mistakes which we do when we create the model, when we create the mold. If you can work on the mold, if you can correct the model, you will be able to project what you want to project. First thing. And then you will have the tremendous understanding. The whole world is your projection. When you correct the mistakes which you are doing in your inner verbalization, you will achieve two things. First, the Shakti to realize your dreams. The Shakti to make your dreams into reality. Second thing, the Buddhi to realize the reality itself is nothing but your dream. Shakti to make your dreams into reality, and Buddhi to realize that reality is nothing but your dream. Even once, if you can create a model and project it in the inner outer world clearly, you will realize you can create. When you realize you can make your dreams into reality, immediately you will realize whatever you think as reality is nothing but your dream. You will realize these two at a time. Now let us see what all the mistakes we are doing in our inner chattering, inside our mind. Why don't you put your camera here?
Get a good shot, sir.
Or put the chairs such a way that people must be able to walk the other way. Now let us see deeply what are the mistakes we are doing when we create the mold. Our mold for the outer world is created in our unconsciousness, where you repeat the words without your consciousness. For example, when you brush your teeth, you can see your mind will be continuously repeating some words. If you have observing capacity, you can see sometime for more than 10 days or a month, you will be repeating same type of words when you do a particular work. Morning, the moment you get up from the bed, unconsciously you will be repeating the same type of words. When you take bath, unconsciously you will be repeating the same kind of words. Morning around 9 o'clock, you will be repeating same kind of words. How many of you have experienced at a particular time, you will be repeating same kind of words? Even if you don't have to go to the office, you will be repeating the words which you usually repeat in your office, inside your mind. Even in weekend, you will be repeating the words which you usually use in the office. One part of your mind will tell, no, today is holiday, today is weekend, don't bother about all these things, relax. Even then, your mind will not listen. Your mind has got a habit of repeating words continuously, unconsciously, without your knowledge. Many times, if you stand in rain for 2-3 minutes, there is no reason that immediately you should sneeze, because it takes at least few hours for the body to process. But you continuously repeat the word. If I stand in rain, I'll catch cold, I'll start sneezing. The very repetition or the very power given to these words immediately expresses itself as a different symptom. The words which you repeat continuously, unconsciously, is given tremendous power by your being. It's almost like in front of a projector light. If you keep any slide, you can see that in reality, in screen. If you keep a slide of a temple, you can see a temple in the screen. If you keep a slide of an actor, you can see the actor. If you keep the slide of an actress, you can see the actress. Any slide you keep, you can see that in reality. Same way, your inner chattering is a slide which is kept in front of your consciousness. Immediately it is projected and it is experienced as reality. Especially the inner chattering which goes on unconsciously in your being plays a major role in your life, projecting and creating your life. First thing which we need to understand, we give power to self-contradicting engrams, self-contradicting samskaras. Engraved memories is what I call engrams. In Sanskrit we use the word samskara. We give power to self-contradicting samskaras. For example, if you want to get rid of some disease, if you repeat the word, I should get rid of this disease, the more you repeat that word inside your mind, more you give power for that word, disease. Whenever you repeat the word disease, the moment you utter the word disease, you remember the disease. The imprint or the samskara of the disease gets deepened in your system. Any word which is repeated unconsciously in your being is given power. In Ramayana, there is a beautiful character called Vali. If you face him, he has got a beautiful boon. Anybody faces me, I should get half of their power. So nobody can conquer him. If you go and stand in front of him to face him, half of your power will go away to him. You can't defeat him because already he has got power and half of your power is already with him. So naturally he will be you plus something more. Half plus something more. Naturally you will be defeated. So Vali is the samskara. All your samskaras are Vali. The moment you face them, you give them half of your energy. All self-contradicting samskaras, when you give power to them, you can never get rid of them. That is why a person who wants to quit smoking can never. Try your best. Again and again create a word. I'll quit smoking, I'll quit smoking. Never. It will never happen. Because the moment you create that engram, you give power to smoking also. You give enough power to disease when you say, I'll get rid of this disease. The samskara which you need to create, which you need to repeat, or to which you should give power, should be straight. Means instead of saying, I should get rid of this disease, you should repeat the word, I should become healthy. Words which are straight, words which will create only positive memory in you. The words which should be given power should be very straight and clear. See, when you repeat a word, I should become healthy, again and again you remember your health or well-being. So that concept, that idea is given power. Anything which you remember and repeat inside your being, unconsciously, is given tremendous power by your being. When you repeat a samskara, that I should become healthy, straight away you progress in your life. But when you create a samskara, I should get rid of this disease, it is self-contradicting samskara. When you give power to this type of samskaras, you create only more trouble for yourself. Either you become split personality or schizophrenia. There's a beautiful story. One person wanted to have some miraculous powers. He went to Himalayas to see a master. Somehow he was able to find a master. He asked the master, "Master, please give me some medicine through which I can get some miraculous powers." Master advised him, "Don't ask for miraculous powers. Ask for meditation and enlightenment. That is only the right thing. That only will do good for you." But this person is not ready to listen to the master. He said, "Give what I want. I don't want your advice." In those days, the spirituality is seller's market. Now it is buyer's market. So, this person started demanding, "Supply what I want. Otherwise, I have other shop. I don't need your advice." So naturally, master couldn't do anything. Finally he said, "All right, I'll give you a medicine. Take this to your home and drink. But only one condition, you should not remember monkey before you drink this medicine." Immediately the person asked, "If I remember, what should I do?" Master said, "Take bath, then drink." Now you know this person is already in the big trouble. He went to the house. He thought, "I never usually remember monkey. Why should I bother?" He went to the house. The moment he picked up the bottle, he thought, "Oh, I should not remember monkey. Na? Oh, I remembered monkey. Now what to do? I have to go and take bath." He went, took bath, came out of the bathroom, picked up the bottle. Now you know what happened. Again, he remembered the monkey. Then he thought, "Arey, I remembered monkey." He put the bottle down, ran to the bathroom, took bath, came back, and he picked up the bottle again. Remembered the monkey. After half an hour, he is seen just running between the bathroom and the bedroom. And after 1 hour, even in the bedroom, he started shouting, "Monkey, monkey, monkey." After 2-3 days, he understood the whole drama, ran to the master and put the bottle at his feet. "Please relieve me from these monkeys. Just do one favor. I don't want your medicine. I don't want your miracle powers. Just relieve me from this monkey. That one is enough." When you give power to the samskara, "I should not remember monkey," it is self-contradicting engram. Self-contradicting samskara. When you give power to the self-contradicting samskaras, you create trouble for yourself. You are in trap. Your life will be naturally led towards the misery. Many people come and ask me, "Swamiji, you say the whole world is our creation. Then why am I suffering? I don't want to suffer. But again and again, I am suffering. Why?" Understand. Look into your being deeply. There must be something. There must be some reason. You will be enjoying your sufferings or the samskaras which gives you suffering. Either you will have some vested interest in your suffering itself. Many times when you suffer, you get attention from others. When you fall sick, people attend you. When you are happy, people attending you. You understand unconsciously, if I fall sick, people will attend me. I can enjoy that attention. If you are seeking attention, you will continuously create small problems to yourself. Fever, headache, cold, back pain, this type of the small things. Continuously you will create if you are seeking attention, if you are asking attention from others. Something directly or indirectly you will be enjoying. You will have some vested interest in your suffering. Or the engrams which creates suffering. Some engrams you will be enjoying. You will be keeping it for some benefit. As a side effect, this suffering will come. When the suffering comes, you say, no, 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 I have not asked for suffering. Small story. One guy went to the restaurant, ordered for dosa, idli, puri, chapati, everything, and finished with Calcutta Pan. Suddenly the server brought the bill. This guy asked, I have not ordered for it. Why did you bring? He asked, I have not ordered for the bill. Why did you bring? But you should know, if you order for food, naturally you will receive the bill. Many times, without even understanding, without even realizing what will be the side effect of this engram, you enjoy that engrams. You enjoy that samskaras. You pamper those samskaras. You allow them to grow in your being without knowing the side effect or the after effect. Only when the after effect happens, you start condemning. No, 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 I have not asked for this. How did I get this? I did not ask for this. How I got this, I don't know. If you look into your being deeply, you can understand wherever you create the root cause of suffering, either you will be having a self-contradicting samskara or the samskara which you created for some purpose, creating misery also as side effect. If you can analyze your being, you will be able to understand the truth of what I am expressing. Now we will do a very small exercise, because this exercise will make you understand what I am saying. It will help you to internalize the concepts which I am expressing. You will just find at least 10 samskaras which is self-contradictory, which you are continuously using in your life. You can find 10 in 10 minutes, because you have at least few hundreds. At least few hundreds you have. You can have a notebook. We will be giving you a notebook and pen. It is only for your purpose. You will carry the notebook later on. It's only for your purpose, so you can write it. You can write. It is just to give an idea to yourself, to internalize this concept, how you create these self-contradicting engrams. Please write down some 10 self-contradicting engrams which you create for yourself. Then we will work how to straighten it. And then the third thing, a simple meditation technique to throw away all the negative self-contradicting engrams which you created for your being. Shiv, can you move the camera or put the row chair here?
Obviously, people will, I can't get, people will be blocking if I put the rows. That's the problem.
Please have the paper and pen. Volunteers. Jyoti, please write the paper and pen.
Jyoti, pen down, pen down.
If you got the paper and pen, start writing. It is for yourself, so please don't show to the next person. And you can write it, nobody is going to read, it is only for your purpose. If you have any doubt about this word, self-contradicting samskara, you can ask. The samskara which you have created to create a particular result, but which creates opposite result. Because the wordings are not proper. Because the thoughts are not straight. Please write any 10 self-contradicting engrams which you have created inside your mind, which you repeat unconsciously, continuously. For example, I should get rid of this disease. I should get rid of this back pain. I should get rid of this problem. I should get rid of this addiction. I should get rid of this desire. All these things are negative engrams. You can write. Then we will do a simple meditation technique to throw them away from your consciousness, from your space. And then a simple technique, how to straighten them, how to make them into positive engrams. You raise your hands. Take your time. Nothing more hands. Yes. Now we will analyze all these ideas with your questions. I made many statements which are against our understanding, our regular understanding about our life and all those things. You can question. We will internalize these concepts by analyzing through our questions. Then we will go into the meditation technique of removing the self-contradicting or negative engrams from our consciousness. You are welcome to put any question.
You said that we are responsible for our dreams and we make them. I don't understand because it seems to me that the dreams just come within us. I feel that I don't make the dream. So how do you?
Two things. When I made the statement, I meant the dreams of waking dreams, means that your thoughts. Another one thing, even your dreams, which you are having in the dream state, which you are having in the night time, even that is created by you. If you look deeply into the dreams, you can understand they are nothing but suppressed desires and fear. Suppressed desire and fear. And if you see your daytime thinking, that is also nothing but the expression of the night dreams. We should understand a little deeply how we think. There's a beautiful word called association by Sigmund Freud. He says, we don't think, we only associate. He gives a beautiful example. For example, you see a dog in the street. Immediately you will remember your pet dog with which you played when you were a child. Then you will remember your teacher under whom you studied. Then you will remember the place where your teacher used to stay or where your school used to be. So just your thoughts will move. There is no logical connection between the dog which you have seen in the road and your teacher. Just your mind is moving through mere association. When your mind is moving through mere association, you don't even know what you are thinking. Suddenly you realize simply thoughts are going. Even your thinking is association. So naturally your dreams also will be association. But the root is always created by you. The root is fear and greed, suppressed desires and suppressed fears. That's the root. From the root, different combinations are created. It's like a rainbow colors are there, the 7 colors. They are the root. From that you can create thousands of shades. Your dreams are like thousands of shades, but the root 7 colors are created by you only. From that, thousands of shades are created. Every day, every night, you see different shades. You can't say, no, this shade I have not created. Root of those shades are created by you only. It is you who created all the 7 colors. Out of that, these different shades are created. You are seeing the different shades. The root thoughts, the root engrams are your creation. Whether it is daydreaming or night dreaming. If you have little awareness, you can understand the daydreaming and the night dreaming are very closely related. If you fast for just 2-3 days, samvrata, Ekadasi vrata, samvrata, just fast for 2 days. 3rd day in the night, dream you will have feast. In the dream you will have feast. How many of you experienced? Anything you suppress, you will experience or enjoy that in the dream. Whether it is fear or greed, if you suppress, you will have it in the dream. So naturally, directly or indirectly, it is you who is creating the root of night dream and daydream. When I say daydream, this world. When I say night dream, which you see in the night time. For both, it is you directly responsible.
You said we should create level words like make the body healthy rather than get rid. What are other words that you could use?
You can tell me what are the negative engrams you created. For that, then we will be able to.
Okay, I tell myself tonight I have to sleep because I know I have insomnia.
Of course, the I have to sleep is a straight away positive engram. It is no negativity.
Okay, but I say, oh, I have insomnia. So I should say that.
No, you say I have not.
I have insomnia.
Oh, then naturally it is a negative engram.
So I should say that.
Yes.
I should say I'll sleep.
Yes, I will sleep. That's
Okay.
all.
Okay.
And especially when you unconsciously repeat without your awareness, those words have got 1,000 times more power than the words which you repeat consciously. Because you never believe your consciousness. You have all your faith only on your unconsciousness. So be careful, be aware. You never allow even a single negative engram, negative word in your unconsciousness. Yes. You can.
Sometimes people might be afraid to say something positive because they might not get it in the time that they're expecting it, and then they're afraid that they will get disappointed.
That fear only they continuously repeat negative words and they get the negativity. See, understand, whether you get it or not is secondary. But by repeating the negativity, you are not going to, not only you are not going to get the positive thing, you are going to create more trouble for yourself. You understand? Negativity is not the substitute for not getting the positive thing. And one more thing, at least with positive engrams, you have a hope. May not. That hope is there. The hope itself will give you enough energy to move in the path, to pull your life. But with negativity, the hope itself is over. So there is no way moving. You are just stuck. That's what we call tamas, inertia. So it is better to be in rajas than in tamas.
One thing I could not understand, Swamiji, your statement is mind is in the habit of repeating the same words at particular time. But in my life, I have not experienced it.
For example, if you are addicted to coffee, exactly at the time of 7 o'clock, even if you don't see the clock, inside the bell will go coffee. Have you experienced this?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
This is what I call continuously the engrams are getting repeated inside your being. You may not have experienced the example which I gave, but naturally you will have this type of experience. This is what I call continuously your mind repeating the words. Yes.
Swamiji, there is always a struggle to become a vegetarian. Now, let me analyze this one. We come from the East and live in the West, and there is a high incidence of diabetes here, and a family trait of diabetes too. We know by reading the books, as you said, Rajasika, Tamasika, Sattvika, Sattvika qualities are more in the vegetarian. And that's one of the beliefs that we do. We try to become vegetarian, but it creates more of carbohydrates. My struggle is, do I become a diabetic and I don't get the convenience of, that's negativism I always have, but I want to practice the vegetarian. How do you get rid of those?
I think before starting practicing vegetarianism, you should get rid of that idea that carbohydrate is measurements. To tell you honestly, I work with patients. As of now, in last 2 years, more than 1.5 lakh patients I have touched, because we do the healing, the meditation healing. Only when a person comes to know he has got a problem, or he will get a problem through particular food, he gets the problem. Of course, what I am saying will be very difficult to understand, because for your lifestyle, for your education, according to your education, according to your understanding, it will be totally different. But according to my understanding, the engrams or the mental ideas plays a major role. So your problem that before starting itself you are decided, if I become vegetarian, I will become diabetic. I will eat this kind of food, I will become diabetic. I am going to have this trouble. You have not even entered into that project, or you have not even taken that project. You have not even entered into that lifestyle. You already decided. You already have a concept. First thing, becoming vegetarian or non-vegetarian is nowhere related to spiritual growth. Please understand that. It is nowhere related to spiritual growth. There are many non-vegetarian people who become enlightened. So you don't have to force yourself to become a vegetarian. Next thing, that idea, the moment if I become vegetarian, I will naturally have only this type of food, I will become diabetic. All these things, I can say surely it's not reality. It is more like a, that's what we understand this one thing. Sometimes we listen all the arguments and pass judgment. Sometimes we create judgment, collect arguments just to support the judgment. Here, if you analyze a little deeply, somehow, through some belief, some faith, one thing, be very clear, just like there are some superstitions in the religion part, there are enough of superstition in the science part also. There are enough of scientific superstitions. A lot of time, we don't even understand. We just start believing just because some researcher or some scientist have said that. We don't even look into the matter. We don't even see deeply. We just started believing. So maybe some scientific superstition has entered into your head. You have started believing, by the vegetarian food, I am going to become diabetic. Surely you will not become diabetic by vegetarian food. Maybe a particular food which you are thinking. And one more thing, you don't have to take only the food which will make you diabetic. There are enough of different kinds of food which will not make you diabetic, which is vegetarian. So you can go for that type of options. It is just how much we are aware without allowing these things into our mind. First thing, you don't have to force yourself to be a vegetarian. Next thing, even if you decide, you don't have to have the prejudice that if I become vegetarian, I will become diabetic.
Would you excuse us? I will ask you a direct question. Are you vegetarian, sir?
Of course, I am pure vegetarian.
And
From
if you are pure vegetarian, why you are vegetarian? Why you eat the non-vegetarian?
Just because I don't like. Just because I don't like. From my childhood, I am born and brought up with this lifestyle. That's the first thing. Next thing, it is not straight away related to the spiritual growth, but I have my own idea about ahimsa. See, ahimsa is my lifestyle, not for the sake of spiritual growth. Just I love it. Just I love it. And I don't want to put the vegetarian food as a basic condition for spiritual growth. If we put that as a basic condition for spiritual growth, more than half of the humanity we are editing, we are removing, or we are, what to say that, eliminating half of the humanity from the spiritual life. That's the reason I don't want to put vegetarian food or vegetarianism as a basic condition for spirituality. But just as a lifestyle, I love it. I enjoy it. That's different. And in your mind also, I tell you honestly, I have seen few people, they take non-veg food only 15 minutes a day and they forget about it. There are other people who don't take non-veg food, but 24 hours they think about it. So it is better to have 15 minutes non-veg food than 24 hours having mentally non-veg food. And one more thing, the continuous idea. And there's some more problems. When you start doing all these practices, you become more egoistic. That's another one problem. A non-vegetarian person will be more near to God than a person who is egoistic about his vegetarian life. You create an ego that I am a vegetarian. I am holier than you. I am some way higher than you. See one thing. Any morality which happens out of overflowing or fulfillment will never give you ego. Anything which you force and do it will give you strong ego. I don't know whether it will give you spiritual growth or not, but it will give you a strong ego. That much I am sure. Any morality which is forced on you, or which you do it by force, by bending, by torturing, by suppressing, it will give you a very strong ego. Continuously you will be smelling about that morality. I have seen people suddenly, if they become rich, they will smell too much money. Too much money smell will there, means too much of jewelry, too much of showing. That's what I call money smell. Too much of smell of money. Same way, if you force yourself and make yourself moral, or force some morality on you, you will be continuously smelling that morality. You will start torturing your friends and neighbors or your relatives, continuously speaking about it and forcing them to follow it, or at least forcing them to respect you for that, that you are some way great. So I tell you, never force yourself into any morality. Let things happen as an understanding. If it happens as an understanding, it's all right. If it is not happening through understanding, even if it happens by force, it will not be permanent. So don't bother about it.
How do drugs and drinking come into this?
Again, one thing, only two things. Either you understand and drop, or you will continue. Even if you force yourself and drop, you will drop 11 times a year. I have seen one person came and told me, Swami, in last 1 year, 11 times I have stopped smoking. Means what? You will be doing the same thing. 11 times you will stop drinking. 11 times you will stop smoking. Any morality should happen only out of understanding. Only out of a deep understanding. Never out of fear or greed. If you do it out of fear and greed, first thing you will not be able to do. Even if you do it by too much of force, suppressing yourself, you will have so much of ego, you will torture everybody. You will torture your whole family, friends, relative circle, whomsoever you see, you will talk only about this. And you will just continuously going around speaking about it.
When you say, I want to be peaceful, is it negative and
No, it is positive. Anything which straight away gives you the result is positive. Anything which is self-contradicting is only negative.
When we are surrounded by people who have negative influence, like depressed, and then we think about them, are we...
Tomorrow we are going to deal that subject. Tomorrow is mainly for doctors. How to disconnect yourself from the patients. Because continuously you take the disease and the negative energy of the patients and you suffer. Tomorrow is the day of mind. So we will deal this. Actually, this is a separate subject. We will deal about that tomorrow. Because now it is time for us to end the session. We have to finish. We have only few more minutes for the meditation. Okay. Now it's time.
I have got one question.
Yes, please.
I always keep on telling my children, you behave well, you have moral values, this is America, and we don't go dead, we don't have promiscuity, and, we can't live together. All these things. Keep on, every day I'm telling it. What should I do?
See, these moralities, please understand, these morality is such beautiful things. You should not give them as morality, you should give them as understanding. Tell them, if you now itself start going around, you will gather too much of fantasies. Too much of fantasies will never let you live with anybody happy. We don't have an equivalent word in Sanskrit for divorce.
They say that you are old-fashioned, you are Victorian time.
Let me finish what I am saying. See, let me finish what I am saying. In Sanskrit, we don't have an equivalent term for divorce.
What is that?
The reason, in those days, we are not infused or bombarded with fantasies. When you are flooded, bombarded with fantasies, you can't live happily with anybody. Even if you get the Miss World or the Mr. World, you can't live with them. You can't live happily with them. Tell them the reason, tell them the result. See, the whole India, complete, if you read the survey reports, only 1% of the Indian population takes any depression medication or any medicine related to mind. In this country, I don't have to tell you, you know the statistics. What is the reason? And 50%,
Loneliness.
more than 50% are single parents. What's the reason? Too much of fantasy.
Lack of acceptance. In
That's
India,
what,
we
you
don't
see,
accept.
why lack of acceptance? Too much of fantasy.
No. Lack of acceptance that you are depressed in India. Here they accept and take medicine. So there is depression there also.
In India,
Yes. They don't accept it.
see, one thing, let me be very clear. Please understand, I work with villages. I work with villages of India. I work with villages. I can be sure India is at least 10 times less depressed than any other country. 10 times less depressed. First thing. Next thing, don't say medicines are not available. Today, in the modern day, through so many social organizations and non-profit organizations, medicine and education is almost available in every village. Almost available in every village. Don't think just seeing some media or press report that India is not having medicine or education. I am working in village. At least 3,000 villages have got our direct representatives from our institution, from our organization. I can say every village has got some way or other, some non-profit organization, some institution is giving at least basic things, and we can't say that there is no medicine available or people don't accept. Be very clear, surely 10 times less depressed. I can be sure of that. If you don't visit India for last so many years, then please visit once. I can be sure it's 10 times less depressed. And one more thing, 50% single parents. What about that? Surely that is not the case in India. That's not the case in India.
In another 20 years, you'll be.
Because the westernization is happening. The fantasies are being infused. So I tell you, see, let us not bother whether the India will become West or West will become India. Let us not bother. Let us see how we can safeguard our kids. Understand? I am not here to analyze social things. Whether after 20 years India will become like other country or other country will become like India, that I don't know. That I don't know. Let us see how we can safeguard ourselves and our next generation. Tell them it is just because of fantasies, aloneness, how worst way or depressed way people die. In the idea of Sabdabadi in Indian marriage system, in the Saptapadi, you take the vow. When you take the marriage vows, Saptapadi vows, either someone dies or you take sannyas. There is no other way to escape from marriage. There is no other way from escape. There is no other way from. There is no other way to escape from marriage. That's the way of life, because there is no fantasy. Too much of fantasies will naturally depress you and disturb you. It is time.
Comment
I
just
think.
on that,
Yes.
because I'm born people are grown up. My children are born and raised in this country, and there are some people who know me. You tell your child what you think is right, and even they give you argument, you are old-fashioned and all that. When time will come, and tell them also, think about it. You want them if you are in a situation like that.
That's
If
all
you
what
tell
else
them
can be
right
done.
and wrong, they will follow and they will listen. When the time will come, they will do it what is right. That's my experience.
One more thing. See, we also should take little more time to sit with them, talk to them. We should have little patience and intelligence both to work with them. And we expect just by telling once they should follow our command, that and all is simply impossible. You should take enough time to work with them because they are more intelligent. What can be done? They are more intelligent. There are more options, more possibilities. Naturally they will question. No other way. Either we take enough time to sit with them, give them our ideas, you see. Give them logically. Give them with a complete understanding. Give them as an understanding. Don't give them anything as a rule. When you give as a rule, no other way, they will naturally break. You see, understand, it's a very simple meditation technique based on the visualization capacity. You need to use your visualization capacity completely. It's almost like a japa. Yesterday I was speaking about japa. Japa means the repetition of some sound or word with visualization. Here, we are going to do a simple visualization technique to throw the self-contradicting or negative engrams from your being. According to our yoga system, all these negative engrams or the self-contradicting engrams are printed in a chakra called Swadhisthana, means just below the navel chakra, just below the navel center. That's the area where we have our chitta, our memory. That is the space, that's the area in which we have recorded our self-contradicting engrams, from which our inner chanting starts. Now we will be creating a mantra to cleanse that energy center. Just to cleanse that energy center, so that we will have more awareness when you think. Actually, when you think, if you have more awareness, you will never create self-contradicting engram. You are creating self-contradicting engram or negative engram when you think only because you don't have enough awareness. If you can create little gap between you and your thinking, you will never create negative words. You are in too hurry, too much of speed. That's the reason continuously you think and you don't even know what you are thinking. It's like you eat, you don't even know what you are eating. Same way, we are continuously thinking without even knowing what we are thinking. Now let us do this simple technique just for 5 minutes. In the home, if you are trying to do it for 20 minutes. Now we will do only for 5 minutes, because we are going to work only on this 10 engram which you have written, which you wrote in your paper. In home, if you are working, write down, at least take 1 hour, write down all the engrams, whatever you can remember, and then do this technique for at least 20 minutes. Let me describe the technique. Let me completely give the instruction, then you can do it. 3 instructions. First, we will close our eyes and concentrate in the Swadhisthana area, means just below the navel. We will concentrate. Next, second instruction, we will create the sound of Humkara, H-O-O. Humkara is the sound to cleanse the Swadhisthana chakra. The third thing, when you create that sound, visualize you are exhaling all your negative engrams. Understand? Here you need to engage both the capacity, verbalization capacity and visualization capacity to cleanse your being. You will verbalize and visualize together. You will verbalize the Humkara, H-O-O mantra, and visualize you are throwing away all the negative engrams. Now we will do it just for 5 minutes. Before entering into meditation, you can read the paper which you have written. Because you have to visualize, you are throwing away all those things. Please read it. If you finish reading, please sit with your closed eyes. Sit straight. Sit straight. Close your eyes. Concentrate or remember Swadhisthana area just below the navel. Close your eyes. Please close your eyes. Just remember the Swadhisthana area. Start creating the Humkara Dhvani. Start chanting the Humkara as mildly as possible, but as deeply as possible. Let it not be loud, let it be mild, but deep. Do it as deeply as possible. Visualize you are exhaling all the negative engrams. Just visualize you are exhaling along with this Humkara. Little more deeply. Chant the